since TikTok seems to be sticking around a little bit longer, let's go ahead and start getting through at least the first 6 months of my favorite books of 2024. First up is Hell Followed With Us, a YA horror novel that takes place in a dystopian future where a cult has released a virus that took out most of America and turned many into nightmarish creatures. We follow Benji, a trans boy desperate to escape the cult after being infected with a new strain of the virus, turning him into a creature of holy retribution. At least that's what the cult had planned for him. This book was intense, but so necessary for the world that we live in right now, especially with the upcoming stuff going on today. I'm recording this on the 20th, by the way, so if you know what's happening, you know what's happening. This has excellent representation of many different queer identities, from trans to ace to non-binary, and more than I can remember. These kids are so heartbreakingly real, so when terrible things happen to them, I felt it in my soul. My next favorite was actually a middle grade fiction, Wonderstruck, a story told in two perspectives. Ben, a partially deaf boy who loses his hearing after an accident during a thunderstorm, and Rose, a deaf girl desperate to connect with her film star mother. I loved how this story was told, switching back and forth between Ben, whose story is told in a more traditional way, and Rose, whose story is told purely through the beautiful illustrations. Like, for example, these are all from the beginning. Like, these illustrations are so gorgeous. Look at these. And I gaped. Because there is an illustration near the end of the book. And I was at work and I turned that page and my coworker witnessed me going at the illustration that I saw at near the end of this book. It is just incredible. And how Ben and Rose's stories connect was predictable, but I honestly don't care. I am very happy to have this book in my collection. Unfortunately, this next one is, I put it on my list before I found out about all the shit going on with Neil Gaiman. In February, my favorite was Stardust by Neil Gaiman. I'm not going to go into it because with everything going on with him and the tanking his reputation is going through right now, I don't want to give him any more visibility than he already has. All I will say is that I liked the book better. Not the book. I liked the movie better. Cat, you have treats. Stop begging. The door is cracked. Oh my god, this cat. I swear it's either all the way open or nothing with this cat. Anyway, moving on to March, I read Fog and Fireflies. I actually got this book as an ebook. In this book, a wizard's war scarred the earth, leaving a malevolent fog blanketing the land and carrying the settlements within it, like ships adrift at sea. The phantoms the fog creates are deadly to adults, so children must guard the walls. Ogma is one such child. What had once felt like a game becomes more of a creeping dread as she gets older. When Ogma's town is attacked by caravanners who roam the fog and many of the town's children are taken, Ogma is lost. She must find the hope and courage to find and save her friends. This story reminded me of a Studio Ghibli movie specifically. Just dark enough to be a little frightening, but with enough whimsy to keep the reader engaged. My next March favorite was Bookshops and Bone Dust. Predictable, I know. Taking place years before Legends and Lattes, we follow Viv after she's injured in battle and is forced to heal in a little seaside town, while the rest of her band searches for a deadly necromancer. She discovers many new friends and a little rundown bookshop bookshop in desperate need of TLC. I am one of those readers who really enjoyed Legends and Lattes, so giving me the opportunity to return to that world was destined to make this one of my favorite reads of the year. While this was definitely cozy, it offered a bit more in the plot department that Legends and Lattes didn't have. I would love to see Travis Baldree attempt a more traditional fantasy story, because the more combat and story heavy parts of this were really enjoyable. So in April, my favorite read was an audiobook, The Honeys. After the death of his twin sister, Caroline, Mars returns to the prestigious Aspen Conservancy Summer Academy to discover the truth of what happened to his sister. But the longer he stays in Aspen, the more the Academy's perfect facade begins to decay. This is actually my first Ryan LaSala book. I listened to Beholder, I think, around Halloween. And I did really like Beholder, but it didn't reach like my favorites. The Honeys I liked more than Beholder. It's eerie and unsettling, the perfect like summer horror read if you're needing something spooky while it's warm outside. Trust me, you don't know where this is headed, and you won't want to stop until you get answers. I consumed the audiobook version and it was incredible. The sound effects added alongside the narration added to the uneasy atmosphere in just the right way. In May, I had two favorites as well. The first was Priory of the Orange Tree, Who Surprised Absolutely Nobody. An epic fantasy for a modern audience, the House of Berethnet has ruled Inyas for 1,000 years. Still unwed, Queen Sabran the Ninth must conceive a daughter to protect her realm from destruction. Ede Durian is an outsider at court. Though she has risen to the position of lady-in-waiting, she is loyal to a hidden society of mages. Ede keeps a watchful eye on Sabran, secretly protecting her from assassination with forbidden magic. Across the Dark Sea, Tanya has trained all her life to be a dragon rider, but is forced to make a choice that could see her life unravel. While the East and West refuse to parley, forces of chaos are rising from their sleep. This is a hefty tome of a book, but gods was it worth it. Exactly what I look for, personally, in an epic fantasy. The world building was intricate, with characters that just jump off the page and feel like real people. And the dragons. You can feel the difference between the Eastern and Western dragons, which are taken from real world folklore. So yeah, this was right up my alley. Number 2 may sound a little weird. The Princess and the Grilled Cheese Sandwich. This is a graphic novel where Lady Camembert wants to live life on her own terms, without marrying a man, that is. But the law of the land is that women cannot inherit. When her father passes away, she does the only thing she can, disguises herself as a man and moves to the capital of the Kingdom of Fromage to start over as Count Camembert. But it's hard to keep a low profile when the beautiful Princess Brie, with her fierce activism and great sense of fashion, catches her attention. As the two grow closer, will she be able to keep her secret? A romance comedy about mistaken identity, true love, and lots of grilled cheese. I love grilled cheese. But hear me out. This was laugh out loud funny, and so incredibly sweet it will give you cavities. Just take my word for it. Am I going to be able to fit this last one? Let's see. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This was my June read. That was my favorite. When Cambridge professor Emily Wilde arrives at the village of, I'm not even going to try and say that, intent on researching the local hidden ones for her book, she has no intention of befriending the local townsfolk. When her academic rival, Wendell Brambleby, arrives unexpectedly, he manages to charm the townsfolk and muddle Emily's research, much to her dismay. But as Emily gets closer to uncovering the secrets of the hidden ones, she also finds herself on the trail of Wendell's secrets and intentions. If you're looking for a Court of Thorns and Roses-esque romance adventure, you're looking in the wrong place. The fae in this book fall more in line with traditional real-world tales of fairies, tricky and oftentimes cruel. This is also not the book if you're looking for romance to take the forefront.